वक्त हम दंतेवाड़ा जिले के समेली इलाके में मौजूद हैं, जहां पर माओवादियों ने आज जो है देर शाम को जो है एक आईडी ब्लास्ट की है, जिसमें एक जवानों से भरी जो पिकअप है वो ब्लास्ट की चपेट में आ गई है, जिसमें जवानों की शहादत हुई है। जैसा कि आप देख सकते हैं कि जो ये रोड है और यहाँ बहुत ही इतना विस्फोट भयानक था कि देख सकते हैं आप, गड्ढा देख के अंदाजा लगाया जा सकता है कि कितना जो है यहाँ पर भारी विस्फोट हुआ होगा।
जो ये लड़ाई है वो अंतिम दौर पे चल रहा है और नक्सलियों को किसी सूरत में छोड़ा नहीं जाएगा।
वहाँ कुछ दूरी में नक्सली छिपे होने की गोपनीय जानकारी थी। डीआरजी के जवान रवाना किए गए थे। सर्चिंग के बाद लौट रहे थे तो आईडी ब्लास्ट किया गया है, जिसमें 10 जवान और एक ड्राइवर की मृत्यु हुई है।
Watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. Red terror continues to bleed the state of Chhattisgarh. In yet another Naxal attack in Dantewada, at least 10 soldiers of the District Reserve Guard, along with a driver, were killed in an IED attack. The Naxals ambushed the DRG forces while the team was on a combing operation in the Aranpur district. Additional forces have been rushed to the area as the search of the attackers is underway. Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel assured swift action, saying Naxal operations are their last leg, adding that no attacker will be spared. Home Minister Amit Shah, in fact, died the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister and assured all aid from the centre. NSG teams are likely to join the investigation as well. And we are going straight to Dantewada, where Satyanarayan Chandak is joining us live. सत्यनारायण जी, मुझे ये बताइए कि जब ये घटना घटी तो क्या कोई इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर प्राइमा फेसाई दिख रहा है? ये कैसे मुमकिन है कि उन लोगों को ये खबर नहीं थी कि इस तरह का कुछ नक्सल अटैक हो सकता है? और ये भी बात है कि जब इतना बड़ा मूवमेंट था, 10 से 11 पुलिस ऑफिसर्स मूव कर रहे थे, तो क्या कोई फॉरवर्ड पार्टी का मूवमेंट नहीं था? क्या यहाँ पे प्रोटोकॉल जो होता है मूवमेंट का नक्सल बेल्ट में, वो सब भी तोड़ा गया है?
जी, आपको बता दूं कि पहले तो घटनाक्रम पूरी तरह से बताऊंगा आपको कि सीमावर्ती इलाका है दंतेवाड़ा और सुकमा का। वहां पर जो है डीआरजी के जवान जो है ऑफिस पे निकले हुए थे। कल जवान जो है कमल पोस्ट एक कैंप है वहां पहुंचे हुए थे। वहां से जवानों ने आज सुबह जो है सर्चिंग अभियान चलाया है, जिसमें आज सुबह जो है माओवादियों के साथ में एक मुठभेड़ हुई थी, जिसमें एक नक्सली घायल हुआ था। उस घायल नक्सली को वो कमल पोस्ट लेके आया। उसके बाद जो है एक 7 गाड़ियों का काफिला था, जिनको जो है कमल पोस्ट से दंतेवाड़ा जाना था। ये तीसरे नंबर गाड़ी थी, जिसमें 10 डीआरजी के जवान सवार थे और माओवादियों ने जो है तीसरे वाहन को निशाना बनाया, जिसमें 10 डीआरजी के जवान शामिल थे और करीब 100 मीटर दूर से माओवादियों ने बैठकर घात लगाकर जो है वाहन को निशाना बनाया है। और कहीं ना कहीं जैसा कि आप बता रहे थे कि कहीं ना कहीं इंटेलिजेंस पूरी तरह से फैले, क्योंकि ये इलाका जो है नक्सल प्रभावित इलाका जरूर है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं ये स्टेट हाईवे रोड है, स्टेट हाईवे 5 नंबर रोड का है। और पिछले 1.5 साल से जो है पूरा प्रशासन और पुलिस फोर्स इस सड़क को बनाने में लगी हुई थी, इस कवायद में लगी हुई थी, क्योंकि वो जो इलाका है जगरगुंडा का इलाका है, जो कि सीमावर्ती सुकमा का इलाका है, उसको जोड़ने के लिए ये रोड जो है काफी महत्वपूर्ण मानी जा रही थी। इस इलाके में लगातार जो है जवानों का जो है आमद रहा है। जवान लगातार इस इलाके में जो है जवानों की सुरक्षा में ये सड़क का निर्माण हुआ है। कहीं ना कहीं इस रोड पे अगर ब्लास्ट हुआ है तो कहीं ना कहीं इंटेलिजेंस पूरी तरह से फैल हुआ है, क्योंकि ये काफी सेफ जोन है। यहाँ पर हर रोज करीब जो है सैकड़ों वाहन यहाँ से गुजरती है और साथ ही साथ जो है बताया जाता है कि जवान भी अक्सर इस इलाके में जो है 4 पहिए वाहनों में गुजरते हैं। और लिहाजा चूंकि सुरक्षित इलाका था, इसलिए जवानों ने जो है ये रिस्क उठाया था कि 4 पहिए वाहन में बैठकर जवान दंतेवाड़ा की ओर जा रहे थे, क्योंकि अक्सर इन इलाकों में एक प्रोटोकॉल होता है कि खास करके नक्सल प्रभावित इलाका हो, जहां पर अक्सर जवान जो है बाइक पे सवार होकर ही जवानों को परमिशन होता है। और करीब जो है दोनों बाइक के बीच में करीब 4 से 5 मीटर की दूरी होना जरूरी है। एक प्रोटोकॉल बनाया गया है, क्योंकि इससे पहले भी कई घटनाओं में देखा गया है कि माओवादी जो है बड़े आसानी से आईडी ब्लास्ट करते हैं और जिसमें जो है जवान शहीद होते हैं। जी
सत्यनारायण, आपने जो अहम बात ये बताई कि जो मूवमेंट होता है, जो प्रोटोकॉल होता है, वो शायद इसमें फॉलो नहीं किया गया। सत्यनारायण जी, थैंक यू सो मच। अ पीस ऑफ ब्रेकिंग न्यूज नाउ कमिंग इन। Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel has now cancelled his election visit to Karnataka. He was scheduled to be there for election campaigning. He will be in fact visiting Dantewada to pay tribute to the slain jawans and take stock of the situation. Arunima is joining me live. Arunima, the question is, do we now know why this ambush took place? The fact is that this is an IED blast. What is visible prima facie is that the protocols were not followed when a movement of this nature happens.
Yes, SOP was not followed. That goes without doubt. Number of SOPs were not followed. Why were they taking a four-wheel vehicle? That too, we told it was taken on rent. And this is a common practice there, because the resources, especially for the state police, even after so much money and resource being pumped in by the sector, the resources for the state police there is often found wanting. So taking buses on hire is a common practice. And why is that dangerous? Because when you take a bus on hire, the information travels that this team has taken this bus on hire, which means they're going to travel. And who does that information travel to? From village to village, and those villagers often are also Naxal cadre. So renting out a vehicle is violation of SOP number 1. Number 2, you should not take the same road twice. That's the golden rule in Naxal territory, because Naxals often watch out for you. If they see you go up on a track, and if they know that you will come back on the same track, they lay in ambush. So the SOP is always take a different route to come back. That's violation number 2. Violation number 3, traveling in a vehicle, in a four-wheeled vehicle, and not traveling in a bike, something that our colleague was also flagging off. Usually when it is unavoidable to travel via motor vehicle, you take a bike. Otherwise, the SOP says you should walk, because walking often saves you. Even if you step on a pressure bomb or a pressure IED, you will lose one person. Here, the entire team of 10 and the driver had no chance. If you look at the remains of the vehicle, all that remains are mangled, steel frame. There's nothing else. Imagine the impact on the human body. So definitely violation of the standard operating procedure. But what made the leader of this DRG group take this decision, that only investigation continues.
All right, Arunima, our editor, Home Affairs, thank you so much for your time. Let me bring in my guests. MP Nathaniel is former IG CRPF and a Naxal expert. We also have Dr. Vikram Singh, former IPS officer. Mr. Nathaniel, I'm going to begin with you. This was a group which was acting on a tip-off about Maoist presence in Aranpur. A team of DRG had left to conduct an anti-Maoist operation. The team was returning in a vehicle to their headquarters when the IED planted on the Aranpur road blasted, killing the 11 personnel. What is visible here is prima facie that there is an SOP failure. The SOP has not been followed. The intelligence, which is very key in these movements, has failed as well, and this has led to the death of 11 of our jawans. But the larger question is that why are we seeing them carry out an operation at this scale? 11 is a huge number.
Good evening to you. Thank you for having me on your show. This is a very saddening incident, and my condolences to the bereaved families. The problem is that very often when the situation tends to become normal, the men also take it a little lightly about the intelligence report that they get, because intelligence reports keep flowing in all the time. And on the basis of intelligence report, they need to be very cautious rather than being casual like the way they got into a vehicle altogether. And that would have been dangerous even otherwise. The SOP has to be followed at any cost. They cannot be taking a vehicle and all the 8 soldiers sitting in that. It is not the right way of conducting operation in this area. Particularly when they are returning, it's a big, huge responsibility for the leaders, the section commander, the platoon commander, or the company commander, whoever is accompanying the troop, to ensure that the men do not get into any vehicle to return to their bases. Because that is the time when the Maoists strike. They know that the men are exhausted and they are in a terrible hurry to reach their destination. And that is the time when they exploit such things. And you never know, the vehicles also may be the one that they have engaged, and they may not have told the driver about this thing. And once they have started moving, they have informers at every place who would be informing the chap who is handling the explosive. He'll inform them well in advance that the troops are moving in such and such vehicle, and it is heading towards the target area.
Okay.
So
Okay.
accordingly, the man prepares and he targets and causes a huge explosion, which then results in such casualties.
Yes, but I want to understand from you, Dr. Vikram Singh, according to the data that was provided by the CRPF earlier this year, they had said that the incidence of left-wing extremism attacks in Chhattisgarh had dropped by 77% in 2022 compared to 2010, but the incident of killings were increasing, and now we are seeing a killing of this nature. So where is India's fight against left-wing extremism going or heading?
Maria, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Nathaniel. The fight against the Naxal and the left-wing extremism is going on predictable and very correct and encouraging lines. This lone example, howsoever tragic it may be, cannot be exemplified as something that has never happened in the past. And I do hope that we learn from the mistakes so elaborately pointed out by Mr. Nathaniel, and we should not repeat, never ignore the standard operating procedures, never take the same route back which we took earlier. And the Naxals are very intelligent people. They are not as they appear to be on your video clips. They are sharp people. They have a think tank. They have a research and development. The explosives and the IEDs, you see the enormity of the explosion, that the road has almost caved in. So you can well imagine the type of explosion that must have happened. Their explosions, their R&D, and how to get the maximum casualties, and the use of deception as a unit, as an ingredient of their war against the state. Therefore, I would say that we also need to, because it is not that we are complacent, but yes, the encouraging results in the past have given, yes, that we have not taken it very seriously. Now we need to up our antennae and put it on a war footing. Let us hope that we can give a befitting reply in the next 24 hours.
Yes.
They had their scouts, we did not have. They had their alerts, we did not have.
Yes.
They took precautions and we didn't. This is the gist of the problem.
Yes, but Mr. Nathaniel, if we look at the data again, it said very clearly that the attacks were not happening. You know, the Maoists had realized that attacking in large number may not be the best way forward, and hence the Maoists have started targeted attacks, and that was happening in smaller numbers. But when we look at an attack of this nature, where SOPs are visibly not followed, they have taken the same route which they had, taken perhaps when they were traveling. Is there a degree of complacency here?
To some extent, of course, there must have been some degree of complacency, and that is largely due to the fact that in that particular region, now they have started feeling that Dantewada is comparatively better, comparatively more peaceful as compared to Sukma, Bijapur or other neighboring areas. So that complacency has set in merely because they felt Dantewada mein kuch hoga nahi, since there has been no such serious incident in the past few years or months, and that is the reason they resort to moving by vehicles, leaving aside the SOP, and that causes a great havoc for the personnel. They should not have taken this route, and even if they had, they should have been on foot, so that even if there was in fact, I feel that if they were on foot, the Maoists would not have taken the risk of exploding such a huge amount of IEDs over there. They would not like to waste it for one man. So they must have been waiting for a target like this, where they could have caused massive casualty. And that they have achieved. That was their objective, which they have achieved now.
Vikram Singh, final word to you. This is... many will see this as a setback in the entire efforts by the government against the Naxal and the Naxal movement. There have been several victories, but this attack and India losing its, soldiers and they have been martyred in this brutal manner, IED used as well. Will it be fair to say that this is desperation, act of desperation, and because this entire fight against the Naxals, the left-wing extremism is in its last leg?
Absolutely, Maria. It is a setback, but certainly not a reverse. My advice to the forces would be, please use technology to your advantage.
Do you have
robotics, AI, and also avionics and artificial intelligence, so that you have an edge over the Naxals. And I think that will be the winning edge.
All right. Dr. Vikram Singh and MP Nathaniel, thank you so much for that perspective. Piece of breaking news coming in on this story. And in fact, the Union Cabinet observed a minute of silence over the Dantewada attack. And this is what we know now, because remember, the cabinet meeting has just concluded and union ministers are briefing the press. Arun Dhata is joining me on the phone line. So certainly, union ministers paying tribute to the martyrs, and the Prime Minister has tweeted. We have seen the Home Minister also having a word with Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel. Arun.
Well, that's right. They're observing this silence of 1 minute in that, in fact, cabinet meeting, and dastardly attack which happened in Dantewada. Everyone share their grief and thoughts with the family members of those jawans who, laid their lives while on duty. And of course, the government of the day has been saying that how they are, putting all the efforts to bring, Maoists and other people to the mainstream. And in fact, even in the past, we had seen there's huge reduction as far as these cases are concerned. But unfortunately, what happened today is something which nobody had expected. In fact, Amit Shah, Home Minister, had spoken to the Chief Minister and offered all the support which the state needs at this point in time. And of course, the perpetrators behind this will really not be spared. That is going to be a clear message from the side of the Home Ministry, and of course, in the future, perhaps they will, take all the precautions that such incidents are not occurred.
Thank you so much, Arun. Shifting focus now to our top political story. Ahead of the Karnataka elections, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath hit the campaign trail and launched a scathing attack against